This is what all humans want. In all of my interactions with all these people over the years, especially in the world of business, having interacted with people who carry big titles and big responsibilities, who have best-selling books and all the things, Pulitzer Prize winners and Guinness Book of World Records, like all these people, the biggest influencers that the ones that we don't know, everybody wants the same thing. They want to be seen. They want to be heard, and they want to be felt. Sometimes they really want all three of those things and they don't even know it.
Welcome to the Legendary Podcast, an invitation into intimate, soul-bearing conversations with the gods and goddesses of our Burning Man camp, the legendary playground of the gods. Here you'll meet the visionaries, wisdom keepers, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and edge walkers who make up this extraordinary soul family. Together, we'll journey through the turning points that shaped us, the failures, the victories, the breakdowns, and the breakthroughs, and what it truly means to rise and build something sacred from the ashes. If you've been searching for your people, if you've longed to find a community that inspires you to rise, you found your tribe. So join us now for another sacred journey. Welcome to the playground of the gods. Welcome to Legendary. Hello, Legendary family, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Celinne Costa, your guide, storyteller, host for today's journey, and I'm honored today to call in Jeremy Bergeron, is the correct pronunciation, I believe, and explore his story of what makes him legendary. Welcome, Jeremy.
I feel welcome. Thank you, Celinne. Let's do this, yo.
Yes. So this is our second. Jeremy and I have had two burns together, and the way I met him is because he attended my very impromptu, spontaneous workshop, not this year, but last year. And anyways, we connected over heart-led communication and what it means to be an authentic leader. And every time I talk to this man, I just walk away feeling inspired, expanded, excited. So I'm excited for you to talk to him indirectly through today's conversation and learn about his awesomeness. So Jeremy, before we dive deeper, I'd love if you could just set the stage. Who are you? What is it that you do? What's lighting you up in life, most in life right now? You are working with people within the tribe, so it'll be really good to just set the stage and let us know what makes you come alive.
Absolutely. Well, I'm honored to be here. Let me preface that with, I've seen a bunch of the other interviews that you've done with this show specifically. And, from someone who's hosted a ton, it feels good to be in this guest seat with someone like you who's guiding such really cool, authentic conversations. I saw your one with Lior and some other folks, Mary, and it's just like really dope to be here with you. So I'm very honored, and I do not take this lightly. So thank you for the opportunity. So who am I? Well, first and foremost, I'm a dad. That is my magnum opus in the world is fatherhood. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and my wife, Stephanie, has 3 sons. So I have 3 bonus sons. I have twin 5-year-old boys and another 7-year-old boy that she has with her ex-husband. And so we co-parent Brady Bunch style, and we've been together almost 5 years with these 4 amazing little rascals that are growing very rapidly. When I'm not ducking and dodging children and, trying to figure out, their mastermind plans for us. These kids are just so smart. They're just wild. So when I'm not trying to figure out what they're up to, I do spend a lot of time interfacing with high performing founders and executives and their teams. I'm fortunate enough to have joined actually another camp gangster, Lior Weinstein, who you also interviewed a while back. If you haven't seen that conversation, I encourage everybody to go back and check out that one. But I've been working with Lior in this lifetime for just over a year now, and I support him across a whole bunch of different ventures. Some of them he owns, some of them he's just a partner in. He's either a fractional CTO or a fractional growth officer, or sometimes he wears both hats depending on the business. And so I'm his chief of staff. And what that means for me is I get to really kind of hold space and witness A few things. One, I get to spend a lot of time with founders and executives who are building just epic, epic companies across multiple industries. I love being able to kind of parachute into different businesses that are at different sizes and scale, and they're dealing with different challenges and different fires and different momentum. And so I love that. I feel like I've slid into this kind of Rick Rubin. If you don't know Rick Rubin, he's like produced great artists like Jay-Z and
Mm.
Red Hot Chili Peppers and Johnny Cash. If you don't know who he is, I recommend you check him out. But I feel like my role is like Rick Rubin and kind of meets like Brene Brown, who's this kind of vulnerable, authentic, transparency, titan in the space of personal development. And then also there's a gangster named Matt Mockery. If you don't know this guy, he's coached like Coinbase CEO and a bunch of like venture backed fast growth CEOs. So I kind of feel like those three people had a baby, and that would be me. And so I spend my time just kind of parachuting in to a lot of different businesses, including the ones that, Lior owns. And I spend a ton of time just holding space for the people that are creating things, bringing some strategy and some operations where it's needed. But ultimately, we attract such high performers that mainly I'm just there making sure they have everything they need to be successful, whether that's a strategy or a resource or a person or multiple people. I'm just all about like empowering and galvanizing people to move things forward. So I spend my time really evoking movement and momentum across a whole bunch of different businesses. It's the funnest gig I've ever had in my life. I don't think I would ever shift from this. It only gets to be bigger and bigger.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. And whew, the questions are already coming through. But the first
Let's
thing
go.
that caught my attention about your share is how you very eloquently slipped in this lifetime when you were speaking about your work with Lior. And so I'm curious about what you meant by that. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, this is an interesting thing that when as I mentioned, I have just a very rare opportunity to interact with just epic high performers. Like it's just who I seem to work with and attract, and I just love working with people who are up to big things. And I define a high performer as like someone who is up to big things. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're billionaires and multimillionaires, although I know and interact with many of them. And so some of these people along my path, when I get a chance to connect with them, there's an obvious like connection. It's like, wait a second, okay, there's something here. Maybe it's like, wow, we should definitely explore this. And on the rare occasion, there's certain people that when I meet them and we connect, there's like, and maybe you felt this, maybe people listening have felt this. There's this deep knowing, like, yo, this is not just like I like you and you like me. This is like we know each other, and we don't really know each other yet in this lifetime, but there's like this deep respect, this deep acknowledgement, this deep trust and love that actually existed, within the first like couple of seconds. We're like, whoa, wait a second, like we've been here before. We've been here before. And I've had this experience with a few people, my wife, a couple of other people, actually David Osborne, who you've also interviewed on this show.
Mhm.
There's a few people that when I've gotten a chance to be with them and be in their presence, all of a sudden there's this remembering of like, wait, too, we have danced in this life and many lives in many different ways. And so that's what I mean by with Lior. With Lior, there was like, when I saw him speaking on stage, I was like, oh yeah, he's cool. Like this is a cool dude. I didn't have a spark there, but when he and I hopped into a Zoom meeting for the first time, it was really about 10 seconds where I was like, oh snap, like this. I mean, I know this guy. Like I really know this guy. And so over the past year, now having been, in multiple meditation ceremonies with him and multiple deep dives with him, it's just become very clear and apparent that the level of trust and respect that we have goes way deeper than this lifetime. And then, of course, I'm a fan of the occasional numerology reading and psychic reading and people who are channeling kind of ancient wisdom. I have a couple of really epic people that I really respect. And of course, I asked them about Lior. I'm like, who's this guy? And all of them say, oh, yeah, you've been in every lifetime together. Like you've been here many times. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So there's been some confirmation along the way. And it just creates this, man, when you find someone like that, whether it's a partner or a business or life, like there is a depth that is like, whoa, like this is not just we're getting to know each other and we like each other. The same with my wife, Stephanie. When I met Stephanie, I had been married before. She'd been married before. When I met her, I was like, this is not just another cool chick. Like this, there's some depth to this woman. Like, what is this about? Why do I feel like there's so much more to this? And 5 years in, 100%, we go way back in the lifetime, cycle. So it happens here and there. And when it does, I feel it deep in my bones, and it's hard to kind of put the words to it, but it's the more we collab, the more we play, the more we do life together, the more it becomes apparent that we've been here before in many iterations.
I love that. Thank you. What's really fascinating about what you're sharing is you and I have spoken before around creating that bridge between the spiritual, what people will call the woo woo world, and where these things, astrology and past lives and plant medicine exist, figuratively speaking. And then there's the more business, practical, corporate, let's get things done for the world. And you and I have spoken about the importance of bridging those two together. And what I really love about your share is that you're here, chief of staff, you're doing this really big work with high performing people doing big things in the world. And actually behind that, the tapestry that really weaves you together is this piece of like having a deeper inner knowing. It's a deeper spiritual connection that is actually translating into a business partnership where y'all are getting shit done, so to say, like for the world, but both of those elements are coexisting. What I'm actually curious about, Jeremy, is really how you guys bring this forward into the work that you do. But before we go there, I want to take a little walk down memory lane with you, because when you were sharing that you're someone who you're here to drive people forward, and this is something that you love, and you're just here like bringing people forward, connecting them together. I'm curious about the story. Like if we trace the roots of who you were before you became that man, what is that underpinning story that made you so passionate to even become someone who's doing this kind of work? Because there's something in there.
I love that question. It's actually been like a more recent kind of awareness of myself. So growing up and, being involved in, sports and even in college and the fraternity and like different things, like different group activities along the way, different extracurricular things. I didn't really know this, but I was often the person that people would choose like to be the leader. Like, hey, like, okay, you're the leader. Like, okay, you pick, or you're the captain, whatever. And in college, it was like, okay, you're the pledge class president. And all of these like moments, even when I got into corporate America and was working, in the Fortune 500, I didn't really quite believe that I was a leader. I didn't really quite believe that I could galvanize people or evoke people. I think one, because it was something I just did so naturally that I didn't even consider like, hey, like this is like a great skill you can cultivate and develop. And I just didn't really notice it actually. And I think it more aired on the side of people pleasing for most of my life, where I just got really good at kind of chameleon. I could be with anyone from the jocks to the punk rockers to like, I had friends in every circle. And it really kind of came from this place of like, well, I just want to be liked. I just want you to like me. So I just got really good at studying people, at learning people's behavior, and then really learning how to manipulate things to what I wanted, which was get people together and do awesome things. That was kind of my mode. But really, Celine, it wasn't until I participated in this emotional intelligence training just a couple of years ago called Ascension Leadership Academy. Brad and Jenna Ballard, two very good friends of ours. They're also in our camp. If you haven't had them on the show, I think for sure they both should be interviewed, maybe at the same time, maybe separately. But they have this emotional intelligence training. And I resisted going to it for about 4 years, to be honest. I was like, nah, I'm good at personal development. I've already, plant medicine, like I'm good. And then finally I decided to say, wait a second. Like this is their contribution to the world, and I have no idea what it is beyond its emotional intelligence training. And so, long story short, I jumped into the training, and there was one exercise in particular, this really powerful exercise that I won't spoil for the room, but I'll say that it was this very somatic, very in my face, very real, like acknowledgement and recognition, like, hey, you are the leader, that people will follow you. Like, don't you get it? Like, wake up, you're a leader, be a leader. You can't not be the leader. And so it just, the way that they orchestrated that container was masterful. It blew my mind and blew my heart wide open, especially someone who had done a lot of work for many, many years. This really kind of put the kind of, wait a second, you can evoke people in a way that is unique. You can evoke, the entrepreneur, the founder, the executive, the family man, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you can get people moving in beautiful ways. And so it's time to actually own that. It's time to really remember, like, this is not just, oh yeah, he's good at these. So I started to turn the love towards myself and make it not about people pleasing, and make it just about like me just trusting my instincts and trusting my intuition, which led me down some amazing paths, which is really what I get to do with Leor all the time. Like, now I need to trust my intuition and my instincts, and I have the keys to his whole kingdom. And I get to parachute in various ways and do what I do best, which is like move people forward, which in the world of business is a really helpful thing. And so I do it from this like place of not, I don't care about being liked. That's cool. I'm in my 40s now. I'm working to honor the people pleaser in me, but also like that's not the one taking the front stage. Now it's like, yo, I love just see people win in multiple ways, and so that's what kind of spurs it on now. Is like, I'm just, it's in me, and now I know it and I trust it. So now when I come into the room or I get into the meeting or whatever it is, people know, okay, Jeremy's here. Like, we know we're moving things forward, and it's authentic and genuine, and it's really magical in my experience.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. The key word here of what you're sharing is authentic, genuine. Those are the words. Because here's what I have observed. It's a fascinating phenomenon that I see it across leaders across time, which is the thing that you are doing, that you are from the outside looking in. The end result could look the same or very similar, but how you are doing it and where it's coming from can completely change the game. There's so many people that I've worked with that are just absolutely burned out, completely like at the stake, because they've achieved so much, they've created so much in life and business, but they don't feel like they belong in that creation. They don't feel like they're worthy of, they don't feel like they're aligned with. And so even though the dollar amounts or the follower or the audience amount or all those external metrics can be present, it's different. How you feel in it is different. And this is what I'm hearing in your story, is that you've always had this innate gift when it comes to leadership and being able to move people in a certain direction. But up until a certain point, that innate gift was being shadowed by these, previously unconscious, and even when you were aware of them, just these programs that you hadn't been able to quite release. And so the gift would operate, but under the shadow. And so I'm curious, when you say, and I think it's really important for us to define here, when you talk about leadership, if you can define what leadership actually is to you, and if you can define what people pleasing is to you. And I'm really curious now that you're in the other side of it, because there's people that are listening right now, Jeremy, and I believe they're still like, where's the line? How do I know when I'm here and I'm not there? And so I have a feeling that it would really help if you can articulate these two definitions and how you found yourself moving in your internal world. What did it look and feel like for you to be like, oh, I'm moving people and I'm people pleasing, as opposed to I'm moving people and it feels awesome and it's aligned to my mission, and that enthusiasm that you're bringing to the plate now?
Yeah. Well, on the leadership tip, I've been so blessed, Celine, to been kind of catapulted into these rooms with, leaders of, some of the most epic, most successful businesses in the world. You talk about the Fortune 500, 1000, like the reason they're there is because they're the best at what they do. And typically, these folks that have the title of leader, what I find is most of them, not all of them, in my curiosity, most of them, how they got to be a really great leader is they were really good at leading themselves first. They were really good at knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, not trying to get better at what they suck at, but actually doubling down on what they're great at. And the earlier and more often that I find that an executive did that versus like, oh, I have all these gaps, like, let me just go get good at these things. It's not to say that those people can't be successful and rise to the top. Just in my opinion, someone who is really good at leading themselves knows their strengths, and they also want to get better at those things. Clifton Strengths Finder is one of my favorite tests of all time, right? That's like the ethos of that test. They surveyed a bunch of C-suite folks and executives and realized the really good ones knew what they were really great at and doubled down on that. And they didn't worry about the stuff they weren't good on. They could find a who or a strategy or whatever to take care of that part. So that's what I noticed. I'm like, wow, they're really good at leading themselves. Not that they're leading these brands and teams and all that's existing, but the reason why they're doing it so well year after year after year, because the really good ones stay in the seat a long time. I've had many conversations with people who have the title and the paycheck, but you talk to them in 6 months or a year, they're somewhere else and they're somewhere else and they're somewhere else. And that's their journey and their path. But I find the really seasoned leaders are the ones that first know how to lead themselves. And they're not just going to play the talk track and play the game just because they can come up with the strategy and then delegate to someone who can do it. These are people who know themselves. They have emotional intelligence. They have awareness, and they've spent time with themselves in whatever form or fashion that may be. So that's how I would say the leader part. And then to the people-pleasing part of things, this was an interesting, it's an energetic thing for me. Like I remember, when I first joined Google, right? When I first joined Google, I thought it was the last place I'd ever work. And it was, I finally arrived. At the time, Google was like the number one brand in the world to work with. And very quickly, they picked me out of the class and said, okay, you're going to lead the class. I'm like, okay. And so I got a chance to do some really awesome things there and lead people through launching new products and new opportunities and being thrown into the deep end without any strategy or plan. Like, you build the plan, we're Google, we'll give you the resources, just fail fast, break things and move on. And I began to, I love that, but again, here I was surrounded by some really smart human beings who, if you looked at my resume and I looked at their resume, I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't get a 4.0, actually nowhere close to a 4.0. I thought it was a joke when Google contacted me of hey, we're Google. I'm like, please, do you know where I went to school? Do you know how much I partied? Did you see my resume? This is a joke. And they're like, no, actually, we think you have an interesting background. We'd like to bring you in. And so coming in and leading teams there, I loved it, but I was from this place of comparing, they're so good. I'm just comparing myself to them. And here I am being chosen to be the leader. So I'm going to do what I do best, which is make people feel good. But what I noticed over time was that I was operating at a deficit. And I just felt dude, even though the accolades were there, President's Club, revenues up, all the things, all of that was great. And why do I feel exhausted? Why do I feel like I'm not being true to me? Everyone loves me, but yet that's not enough. I'm feeling like this is not for me. And then I left Google after 2 years and went on to do other things, and still learning that lesson, even went back to Google, I boomerang back after 2 years and went back for another round of the same thing. It didn't hit me that I needed to actually learn how to sit with myself and please myself, right? What do I want? What is actually important to me? Not the bottom line, not the teams, not the opportunities, not the title. What is it that I really want? And that started really in the last handful of years. And so now my barometer is, how do I feel at the end of the day? Because I interact with tons of people every single day. I'm in as many meetings as I want to be in person. I'm on a plane, a train. I can be as busy as I want. And sometimes I actually love that. But at the end of the day, if I'm not just tired, but I'm you just spent the whole day not honoring yourself. You honored everybody else and they feel great. But how do you actually feel? How does the Jer Bear gas tank feel? And so I now know, wait a second, if I come from this authentic, transparent, just genuine spot, where I don't have to have the answer, I don't have to have you like me, then I find myself filled up. And then I can be on planes, trains, and all over the day. It doesn't matter how much time goes on or how much pressure and noise exists. It's because I'm coming from this genuine space that I don't care about the outcome. And actually, the outcome is there, and the result is there, and we all know the pressure is there. That's not my priority. My priority is like, am I tuning into me? Am I actually causing love? Am I actually like me, Leo, joke like, what would love do? Like, what would love do? We see this in like marketing meetings and sales meetings. Like, what would love do? And so it just reminds me that it's not about being liked and loved by everyone. It's about one liking and loving myself first. And if anyone can relate to the people pleasing, experience, it's really true. It's like until I started slowing down and sitting with me, which is what we talked about recently, Celine, is when it really started shifting for me of like, wow, like there's so much more here with me first. Then when I go out into the world, the galvanization and the evoking that I do is world class. It's profound when I do this part first. It's a
Mhm.
practice. I'm still a white belt. I'm still learning. I think I'll always be on the path of mastery there, but there is an inner knowing now around it where I'm like, I can't go back now. I can't return to who I was at Google, the other companies. Like now I know that I have to honor this vessel and honor what's important here first. And then, man, when I go out in the world next, it's game over.
Mhm. I love it. The words that came through as you were speaking were, "It's easy to be you." And when we talk about effortlessness, and this is a conversation I have with my clients who are also leaders constantly, is that it's not hard to be yourself. It's hard not to be yourself. It's hard to not say the thing that needs to be said. It's hard to go against your values. It's hard to be in a room that you don't want to be in. It's hard not to speak up for yourself. And all of these little paper cuts where every day, especially people who are in leadership roles, they're getting consistently drained by all the little places and spaces where they're not filling in for themselves, and they're disconnected, and they're doing what they think they should be doing rather than what they're really, like you said, taking the time to sit and ask, is my tank full? What do I need? And then operating from that place. And so, something that also came through as you were speaking that I'd love to receive your perspective on is you shared something along the lines of, when you're a leader, you are emotionally intelligent, you listen to yourself, all these things that you were sharing in terms of the qualities of a great leader. And I couldn't help but think, I actually just started this week watching, that series We Crashed on WeWork, the
No,
WeWork series. Okay, there's a
no,
really fun
no.
WeWork series. I highly recommend it. It's
Okay.
great television, but it's
Okay.
basically an Apple's spin on the WeWork. The guy Adam who founded WeWork, and
Yeah.
he basically they got him off the CO because he was just spending like a maniac, doing a lot of things
Hmm.
out of integrity. And at the same time, he also like drove a multi-billion dollar evaluation. He was a visionary mind behind all of WeWork, and he created an entire empire. And, he was booted off of it because he was mismanaging it. But at the same time, he moved people. And so, when I hear you speak about leadership, I feel, and also knowing you personally, that your definition of leadership is coming from a very subjective space of you having done some really good work on yourself, and also
Mm.
valuing having certain values that include love and integrity and authenticity. But unfortunately, and this one, we're here for this to change this, but the reality of it is that and I don't even know if good, now the words we're using are very subjective, but being a big leader that moves people doesn't necessarily hinge on being in integrity or being authentically yourself or being somebody who actually wants to contribute to the world. And so I'm curious about, number one, your take on that, as you also work with a lot of leaders that are kind of coming off that boat. They're quitting that paradigm.
Mhm.
What it actually like what's been your experience watching both leaders who wake up and the ones that don't wake up, and what do you think we can quote unquote do about it?
Mm. Jeez. That's the billion dollar question right there. I
It
mean,
sure
it's
is.
awesome. Great. The quality of the question, Celine, determines the quality of the answer.
I
Fantastic.
know. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Um, so good. I mean, it's interesting. Like as I sit here, at level 43 in the game of life, and I realize that I know a lot of things, and I also realize that I don't know a lot of things. And as I've had the chance to your point, we've all, at some level, we've all interacted with people in leadership that may or may not be in integrity, that may be have a lot of influence, a lot of power, and we see kind of the outcomes of like what they're driving or what their army of people is moving forward. It's not always doesn't feel like love. It doesn't feel like it resonates, at a soul level where it's like, is this good for humanity? Is this good for our community? Is this good for our family, etc.? So there is that definitely exists. It definitely exists across some of the biggest and most epic brands in the world, for sure. Having met many of them, I'll tell you that not all of them are love and light. It's just a reality. They're all on their own path, which I think is an important distinction. I think everyone is on a path. Like everyone is on a path. I know that I thought my path was one direction, then it's been twisting and turning, and the roller coaster ride has continued to unfold for me. And so what I know is when I have an opportunity to sit, across from someone in leadership, whether it's a brand, or whether who cares what their responsibility is. If someone is a leader in my eyes, when I have a chance to sit across from them, I cannot control their path or their perspective or their experience. That's not my role or responsibility. What I can aim to do each time is to exemplify and represent my version of authentic leadership, my version of compassion, of empathetic leadership. And I do that in my own unique way by leading with curiosity, by opening my hands and loving them, even if they are, filled with darkness and not doing the right thing. Like I know that love can break through and that love can look very different ways. It doesn't not necessarily woo woo. It's just if I sit across from someone and I'm open and ready to receive, but also give from an authentic space, miracles can go down. And that can impact big brands and that can impact the things that they're doing. We've seen that happen as well. We've had people come in and connect with us in the media company, and we've seen the impact of them going back to their teams and back to their initiatives and shifting. And we're seeing that impact the things that they're working on. So I just go back to, am I honoring, myself? Am I being genuine and authentic? And can I deeply listen to where this person is on their path? Can I listen to what they're saying and doing? And can I also hear what they're not saying and doing? Can I listen to the in between space, right? And can I also hold the vision of this other person who's also, I believe, has divine intelligence just like me, regardless of their path and perspective. We're still connected. We're still one. And so can I hold that and not just be enough, right? I don't need to change them. I don't need to, shift their perspective. I just need to be genuinely me. And oftentimes that genuine, authentic love will just go straight to the heart, soul to soul, regardless of pattern and programming and initiatives and who's who. It's like, man, I've seen it shift people. And sometimes it's big, sometimes it's little, but I think it just starts with me and how I perceive me when I'm sitting across from someone like that.
Mhm. I love it. Thank you. As you're speaking, here's what I'm feeling into. So what I'm feeling into is really, even when you were sharing before around having to overcome your people pleasing tendencies and being somebody who's an innate leader, but was struggling to really step into that power fully in a way where you didn't have to carry the weight. What comes up for me is, what did you most have to overcome inside yourself to reach where you are now? And before you answer this question, I also want to caveat with, when I hear you speak about love and when I hear you speak about how important and love is to you and how you choose to lead with it, even in a high stakes business context, what I feel to be true is that people who love like that know heartbreak. And so I'm just going to let that one in there and I'm going to slide it across the table. I'm curious to hear what you've got for me.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful, beautiful. I knew this was gonna be a fantastic one. That's really beautiful. Yeah, as I tune into that question, of course, there's been, polarizing experiences in my life where I've been, propped up and adored and like just there's been some amazing experiences that I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Like how is this happening? And then I've also had the swing, the experience of like certainly being deep in a drama triangle, victim, villain, hero, like really being wedged in that, and in some way not wanting to accept that this is happening to me. Like there's been just crazy in the last handful of years. I don't want to get into too many details because we're still in the midst of it, but I'll say just, you know, I'm so grateful for the side swipes. I'm so grateful for the left hook that I didn't know, that I didn't see coming, that definitely knocked me down and maybe knocked me out for a little bit. And like recovering from the heartbreak, recovering from the crazy, just the energy towards, defeating me and dimming my light, if not extinguishing my light. Like if you've never felt that energy of someone or something like trying to extinguish you, like literally extinguish you, it is it's a very tough experience. And it's something that I would say, okay, in the game of life, I understand there'll be hard things and there'll be easy things and there'll be these things, life will be lifing, but I wouldn't choose that for myself. I wouldn't choose to like be attacked that way or be, victimized that way. I wouldn't choose that for myself. Now, having gone through multiple years of, wow, what a roller coaster ride. Now, like thanking the abuser, like thanking them for whoever it is and was, coming at me and my family and my businesses, etc. Like it really allowed me to learn to sit with myself and sit with that heartbreak because it's important. It's important to have that experience because I now know, wow, because I had that experience and pain, man, I can sit toe to toe with anybody. I can go to the depths of darkness, regardless of what someone did or was accused of or whatever it is. Like I can sit with people because I've gone through some heavy, heavy things, and I hope it's the heavy. I hope I've gone through the heaviest of them all. I'm like, okay, great. Like there's been some really tough things. I'm not calling in any more heaviness in that way. I'd like to keep moving, and the lessons will continue. But there's some tough ones that I'm like, okay, I chose this too. I don't know why I chose this necessarily, but I see my family, my children, my bonus children, my community, like they also in some way needed me to go through this experience so then they could see how's Jeremy going to respond to this? What's he going to do here? And so definitely through a lot of pain, definitely through a lot of like confusion and like what the heck is going on? Which of course, when I am able to sit with and transmute and alchemize those things, it becomes fuel. It becomes relatable. It becomes part of my epic story that I hope I get to tell, from stage one day or in a book one day when we're able to. But those who know me have the opportunity to really hear that pain. And through that pain, like truly, it's why I sit here today. It's why I'm like, wow, thank you. Like, thank you for all the pain and all the damage, because I get to kind of do a couple things with that. One is I get to slow down and really be with myself. Because at the end of the day, if I don't put my oxygen mask on first, everyone else is effed. Like I got to put it on first. And I got to take care of me. And that's just an ongoing, beautiful lesson. So these painful heartbreak, these things that have happened along the way are reminders for me to, hey, take care of me. And that you got this, Jay. You got this, bro. Like you are held. Even in the most crazy stuff, you're held. And so I'm thankful for them now. And I think it's a part of the journey and part of my story for sure. Good question.
Thank you. You remind me of a lesson, a really powerful lesson that I learned a few years back when I was going through one of my own extinguished moments. And a friend of mine said, you rise and fall to the level of your identity. And it used to be that, speaking of the victim cycle, you have hard times, you have great times, you have like that's what life does. It ebbs and it flows. And every time it was good, it was like, oh, great. Okay, I'm going to ride this wave. every time it was difficult, challenge, adversity presented itself, it was like, oh God, I'm a victim for however long until this thing is over, until somehow it passes, either because I pushed my way through it or it naturally passes or whatever. And what I realized is that, one, life ebbs and flows. The adversity is going to come because it's here to forge us. And so, two, if that truth is inevitable, then who I want to be is going to be like the baseline of who I am. Basically, life is going to strip me of everything, and all the challenges, they're going to get me on my knees. And on my knees, I look in the mirror and I see who I actually really am, because everything else is performance. And it reminds me, as you're sharing, of this when you're saying like, this is giving me an opportunity to forge myself as a dad, as a husband, as a businessman, is that we get these opportunities. And it goes back to that conversation that we're having around authentic leadership, is what I believe to be really authentic relationship to be, is this is who you are and it's your baseline. It's who you are, full stop, regardless of what's happening, as opposed to this is who I'm performing, which goes back to the ones that you're sharing, has a lot of darkness. There's a lot of like disconnected soul that are performing really good. They're doing a really good job at performing a lot of things. But then when we strip away the smoke and the mirrors, what you find is little boy or girl who's cowering and, who's very, very much stuck in their victim mentality. And so what I see you mirroring back is this opportunity that we get to have in our journey towards leadership to actually build up who we are at a baseline, so that when the extinguisher comes along, we can stand in our power instead of reverting back into victimhood and kind of like riding it out until life brings up the next ebb and flow, that is, things are positive again or they're better again. And the last thing, that last sentence that you shared around, well, I learned a lot of lessons from like this journey of learning how to be able to forge myself in these situations. And I'm curious, if we zoom out and we look at, like, if you could name the core lesson or gift that life has been giving you all along, what would it be?
Hmm. The first thing that I think of is presence. It's presence with myself and presence with others. And when I say presence, it's like knowing my story and my path and all of the twists and turns that I'm conscious of and maybe unconscious of. It's like all of me, all of my skills, talents, fears, abilities, all of that. It is it is the baseline. Like it's the foundation that allows me to, man, to just be in this life and be okay with what's happening in this life. Yeah, it just like, it's kind of like I almost unconsciously, I mean, I believe the unconscious is really driving most of what I'm doing anyway, but I feel like it's because of these painful lessons and the beautiful lessons and all of these things, it allows me to sit with myself in the darkest, heaviest, and most amazing spaces, so that I can be with other people in it as well, and my children as well. Like, we have four little kids. Their bonus dad and my daughter, her real dad, like, and her bonus mom and their real mom, like, they have parents who have walked in deep pain, who have suffered, and not from a victim perspective, but like, no, this is a refinement. This is a refining experience. Like, the reason why we're diamonds, children, is because we've been through this pressure. We've been through this really tough multiple seasons of like, this is super hard. This is Oregon Trail. Man, why are we doing this? To like, oh yeah, like, they're watching us. They're all watching us. They're modeling us. They chose this too. All of them chose this. We chose this. You chose this. I chose this. And so it's just the anchor that is just a part of the dance now, and now I have so many reminders. I got my amazing wife, Stephanie, and I have these four little mirrors as children, who are mirroring back what we're experiencing. And so I see the environment that we're creating. I'm seeing like what's happening. And that's the barometer for me. Like, that allows me to be, yeah, authentically connected to it. And I'm not sure I answered your question, but that's what came through.
That's okay, because I'm gonna add on to that. I'm gonna one add in my card in there, because the golden,
Do
as
it.
I listen, as I hear you speak, and I'm just not in the context of this specific answer, but this entire conversation, what I am seeing is a golden thread. I'm going to pull it out for us so it's really clear on the table. And the golden thread of everything that you're saying is that when it comes to authentic leadership and what it truly means to be an authentic leader for you, which is a lesson that you embody and now get to give to others who are on that same journey, it's the ability to, what I hear is the ability to sit with myself with presence and connected to love, dot, 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 even through the darkest of times. And
I
to
love that.
me, that thread is the thread. It's like that golden nugget that you carry with you. And I know you said you're a white belt, but it doesn't matter, because it's your soul curriculum. And in you walking that soul curriculum, you get to model it so that other people can, like tuning forks, attune to the way of doing that. Because even in my own, I have a different life than you. I have a different background than you. But when I hear you speak about that, I recognize in myself all the ways in which that is a deeply valuable skill to acquire and to continue like deepening into. Is how do I stay present? How do I stay here with me? How do I stay true to myself in the hardship? And like what we said, because that hardship literally mirrors back to us who we truly are versus what we're performing to be. And it's like the ultimate barometer, because when we talk about authenticity and we double click on that, like what is authenticity? It's being true to who we really are. And being true to who we really are gets revealed when everything that's an illusion gets stripped away, which tends to be when we're in the middle of facing really big adversity. So that's what I would the sigh. I would pull that out
That's
for you, and
good.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, I
If I
love
were to
it. I
give you,
love it.
if I
Yeah,
were to give you your book title,
good.
that it would be along this vein.
This is good. Well, it's beautiful. I love, man. I feel like your next podcast should be the golden thread. It's a great thread. And what also realizing is I think that we all go, we go through this life experience, and there's moments and times when, we have people that are there to protect us and help us. Like, I'm sure there were times when my parents or coaches and teachers and leaders like were there like to have me and hold me. Hey, like that's dangerous. Like, I no, don't go on the street. Like, hey, don't touch that. Like, and there's those moments where maybe they weren't there to protect and guide, and we had to go through some really tough things. And I think as we get older, we're presented with these opportunities. I'm like, oh wait, now there is no parents and teachers and guides, and there's actually no one here except you. Like, it's you and something bigger than yourself, however you identify that. Like, that's the X's and O's now. And so can you witness, hold, see, feel, touch, like yourself? Like, can you do those things? This is what all humans want. In all of my interactions with all these people over the years, especially in the world of business, having interacted with people who carry big titles and big responsibilities, who have best-selling books and all the things, Pulitzer Prize winners and Guinness Book of World Records, like all these people, the biggest influencers that the ones that we don't know, everybody wants the same thing. They want to be seen. They want to be heard, and they want to be felt. Sometimes they really want all three of those things and they don't even know it. But that's the code. Is like, can you, from your own seeing, holding, feeling, touching, can you, from that space in yourself, then can you see other people? Can you really feel them? Can you really hear them? And that's what I love doing. That's why I'm like interacting with all these humans that are up to epic things, but they all want the same thing. It doesn't matter their mission, what they're up to, what they have or don't have, billionaire, no billionaire. Like, I have a billionaire on I was messaging this guy. He's a billionaire. He's incredibly successful. He's got $50 billion assets under management, a legend in the game of private equity and family offices, amazing guy, heart-centered guy. And I'm realizing like this guy wants the exact same thing. He wants to be seen, he wants to be heard, and he wants to be felt and acknowledged. Like that's it. Like that's the key. Every person I interviewed on a podcast, every business deal, every partner, and every man, woman, child, they all want the same thing. In my experience, they all want to be seen, heard, felt, acknowledged at various levels. And some people got a lot of that in their life, and some people are really good at giving that to themselves. But that's rare in my experience, because I know if someone is breathing, they could use some encouragement. They could use some love. They could use some, hey, can you see me? Can you hold me? Can you witness me? It doesn't matter, billions of dollars, 0 followers. It doesn't matter. They all want the same thing. And so I'm grateful for my path, because I keep getting presented with opportunities to do that with people. But now from a place of, hey, have you witnessed yourself, JB? Have you held yourself? Have you felt yourself? Let's sit with that first before you go hold court with billionaires and adventure, all these people. Like before you do that, like do it with yourself. And then I get really good at doing with other people. I get fantastic at it because I don't want anything from them. I know what they want. It's the secret code to everything. You want someone to really connect with you, just see them, witness them, feel it, like feel them, right? If you do that, hear them. If you do that, it unlocks the door to so many things. It'll get you in the room with people. You're like, how did I get here? Oh, you got here because you really saw people and you felt them. That's why you're sitting next to billionaires and millionaires and people who are doing things. That's why you're in the room. It's because you see and feel people. That's it. And you do it to yourself too. So the better I get at that, the better I get at it with the world. And I'm cultivating that skill. Can I really see them? Can I hear what they're saying? And can I hear what they're not saying? Can I really feel what they want me to feel? But can I also feel that part of them that they're like, I don't want you to feel that. But can I hold that and love? Can I really hold that? And that's the game for me. Like the better I get at that, the more unlocks I get, period. And that's my experience.
Mm-hmm. That's a great code you just gave us. It's a really good one for anyone who's listening. In case you missed it, rewind, listen to it again. It's quite simple, but it's profound, it's very simple when we connect with people, see them, hear them, feel them. And if we can really, truly do that in love, then it unlocks the door to pretty much any connection and just really allows us to like, yeah.
You did this the other day. You sent me a message and you're like, hey, I just talked to this executive, this VP at T-Mobile, had a conversation. Like you just had a conversation with someone who has a ton of responsibility, a ton of impact and influence. And you literally just had a convo. And the end of your message to me said, yeah, when we ended the conversation, they're like, how do I work with you? How do I, like you were thinking, I'm going to come in and like support the team. I was like, no. Like I want to work with you. Why did they say that, Celinne? Because you really saw them, you really heard them, and you really felt them. It's also what you do at a soul level, the bridge across these epic brands. Like I see how you do this with executives at big companies and small companies. It's like, that's why people say yes to you, because you do it so well. You've done it in this conversation. You really hold the container for people, whether it's a business deal, a conversation over coffee, a podcast interview. This is what's unlocking your whole kingdom too. It's one of the many things that you're really gifted at, which is what I saw in your workshop 2 years ago that you threw together that absolutely destroyed everybody in the best way of like, oh my God, this is the most epic experience of authenticity and storytelling I've ever heard and felt in my system. So you do this really well. You do it naturally, and people just end up giving you money and giving you resources and giving you help because you see people, because you hold people, and you really get it. And so the story I make up is you must do this for yourself. You must be doing this at some level for yourself, because I get this genuine, your hands are like, you're like here. You're not like, oh, what can I, no, you operate this way. You're like, yep, I see you, I hold you, I hear you. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Golden thread. Cool. How about that? It's like you do this fantastic. And it's also why the world is opening up their Komodo to you to come in and bring connection and drive results in the world of business, in the world of, executive leadership and all the things that you do. You do this very well too.
Oh, thank you for seeing me. It's always a treat.
For sure.
I appreciate you. Ah,
Yes.
beautiful. God, every time the thing turns on me, I get all shy. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. We're good. We're good. We're good.
So
Okay,
good.
so I have a wild card question for you as we begin to close
Okay.
today's conversation. It's not the end yet, but we're
Okay.
getting there.
Okay.
I want to ask this
Okay.
question first. On the
Okay.
topic of seeing people, what's
Hmm.
something you wish people knew about you, but they rarely ask?
Oh, damn.
I know, I'm spicy.
What's something what's something that I wish people would see about me, but they rarely ask?
They knew, see, yeah, about you, but they rarely
Hmm.
ask.
Hmm.
Breathe.
That's such a good question. What is something? Hmm. I would say tuning into a heart here, connecting the heart and the brain and the body. Hmm. I don't think people realize that I actually want nothing from them. Like I genuinely in my Aquarian love of humanity, like I just love humans. Like I love humans, and I don't know that people always get that. Like people are like, man, why? Like, does he want something? Like, what's going on? This guy's just super loving, and I think that if people really just understood that I do it from this now full capacity, like my capacity is expanded to love myself, so I can love humans really well, but I don't think people really know that about me. And because I'm involved in so many things that end up being collabs and business and all these things, that's great. But that's just a byproduct. I don't think that I feel like if people knew that I actually just love them for them, like I don't want anything from them, I don't need anything from them. I am just a champion. I am just if I have an opportunity to get a sideline pass to Celine or to someone that I'm getting a chance to interact with, I'm on the sidelines now. Like I am cheering you the F on just because it feels like one, seeing you and witnessing you and watching you play is amazing. So I want nothing from people, genuinely. And if anything, I just want people to see the mirror of like, dang, I can love myself like Jeremy loves me. Like I can do that too. And maybe that's what I really want. That's what comes through is that I don't want anything from anyone. But when you meet me, if you spend time with me, you will feel loved. You will feel seen. You will feel heard. And you'll walk away being like, dang, like, do I give, what do I do here? Like, nothing. You don't do anything. Just know that if you get to interact with me and be in my sphere and be in my presence, I will love you strategically, authentically, all of it. Like I will love you and I want nothing from you. Genuinely. My life is amazing. Things come at me. It's amazing. The universe is bringing things my way. I don't want anything. I just truly desire to love from the place of wholeness now, not from a place of, oh, I hope you like me. I hope we can do something together. Like that doesn't exist now. Now, like, oh, wow, when I love myself well, I can really love people well. But that doesn't always, I feel like not everyone really gets that because of their own experience of being like, oh, yeah, someone was nice to me or whatever, and they just took it or they wanted something. And so that's just a narrative that people have oftentimes. That, like, if you're being nice, you must want something. And if people get to know me, they'd be like, oh, no, this is just Jeremy. Like, he doesn't want anything. Like, if I talk to this guy, he's loving and awesome every time, and I feel great. And that's all I get from that. And that's what I feel like I'd love for people to understand when they're connecting with me is like just genuine love, like for real. There's a woman, there's this Indian woman, Celine. I forgot her name. I just looked her up. You may know her. She goes around the world and just give hugs. She gives hugs. Have you seen this woman?
No, I
She's hugged
haven't.
like she's hugged like 35 million people. If you just Google Indian woman that hugs people, she literally
Okay.
goes around the world. She goes around the world and tens of thousands of people gather. And all she does is stand up there and they walk up to her and she gives them this embrace, this hug. And she's done this all over the world. She doesn't say anything to them. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't give them anything except this. She just hugs people. And it's wild, the breakthroughs and the miracles and all the things that you see it, people just receiving love from this woman. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I used to laughingly as a kid say, how am I going to make billions of dollars? Encouraging people. I just want to make billions encouraging people. That's all I want to do, is just tell people, like, genuinely, authentically, like, this is why you're amazing, and here's what I see for you. Go. And the money will chase me down. And that's really what's happening now. That's what I do in my role with Lior. I just love on people, really. It looks different and feels different depending on the business, but it's really what I do. It's how I'm creating all of the opportunities in my life. It's just that I just desire to love people in the same way that lady does. Like, that's all she does. She shows up in a city, they gather, and they get a hug from her. And then she goes to the next city and she does that. Like, it's an amazing story. I think she's still doing it to this day. So that's relatable to me. Like, that's what I want to do, because I've seen when people get it, when people feel like, wow, that I just got love. And just because it was love, it was unconditional. There's nothing based on it. Just because this, just love. Wow, that feels good. Look what I can do. That can carry me a week. That can carry me a year. Genuine, authentic love can really power people in all the areas of their life. And it's just love. Cause love and watch what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's another code, folks. Like, take that one with you. It is both, put it in your pocket. It's both a code, and it's also what I see to be part of the legacy that you're here to leave in the world. And yeah, so I can absolutely see that, this piece around authentic leadership, and more specifically, how do we love and radiate success and be authentic and be able to just create a really beautiful, beautiful life, even in high stakes environments. So super important. And now we've got 2 more questions for you. So this question is going to be the cornerstone question of this podcast, which if you've heard other podcasts, you already know. So don't think about it too much. What does legendary mean to you? Go.
The camp or just the word?
That whatever that means to you. Okay. It's your definition, not mine.
Okay. I love it. What legendary means to me is there is authentic power. Like, authentic power, it to me is legendary. Legendary means impact. Legendary means story, lineage, generations, ancestors. Like, legendary carries a vibration with it. Legendary is a feeling, a thought, a phrase, a vibe that can mean many things in many different circles. To me, legendary speaks louder than anything else. So you put legendary with love and you're remembered for eternity, right? Legendary is history. It's playing a big game. It's coming back home, remembering, wait a second, I've got this. I've really got this. And I have all of this capacity and ability to do me authentically in the world. That is legendary. And then when I paint or brush stroke or whatever I put my hand or heart or head to becomes legendary, because it's from that space of authenticity. It's from that genuine, raw, my contribution to the world is legendary because it's real, because it's authentic. It's not what my parents or teachers or coaches or the world tells me it gets to be. It's authentic to me. And that is legendary, and that is impact.
Beautiful. That is a great answer. And, now as we are coming to, the close of today's conversation, which I think this last question really perfectly summarized everything we've been talking about for the last 1 hour plus. If we are to take everything we've gone here and there, we've just gone on a journey, and now we're here, and we can just wrap it in a beautiful bow. If there's one final message or blessing you'd like to offer the listener before we close, what would it be?
Well, subscribe to the podcast and listen to all the episodes. And not just that, I would say I just invite people to remember how potent they are, aside from what they've created, what they're working on, what they've identified with that is them. My thing is, for me, when I come home to me, and I just allow all of the things and the projections and the products and the creations and the opportunities and all those things that make me up, that's all great. And There's a golden thread. It's one of my favorite humans, Celine talks about. There's this golden thread of just like being with yourself in a way that only you can be with yourself. And I just invite people to find that channel and tap into it. For me, it's been what you and I have been talking about before the show. Is just like learning how to sit with myself in different ways, like just slowing down and being with this magnificent body of work that I don't always acknowledge and don't always just, whoa, yo, like just give yourself a dash of what you give the world. Like give yourself just a sip of it. Drink from the cup that you lovingly give everyone else. And so my invitation for anyone listening to this, no matter where you are on your path, because we're all on a path, no matter where you are, find a way to look in the mirror more often. Find a way to, one of my favorite people, Sarit Weinstein, Leor's wife, actually talks about this concept of self-worthship, which I think is going to be a phenomenal TED Talk. Shout out Sarit. But it's this idea of like, acknowledge yourself and really like slow down enough for you to let it in, like let you in. Some people need to let themselves in. And this is for you. This one's for you because you're like me. Let it in. Find ways to let it in consistently, repeatedly, and watch what happens when you let it in. Full stop.
I love it. Well, I'm going to let that stop percolate. That was incredible. Thank you so much for
Amazing.
sharing yourself with us, Jeremy.
Thank you.
And I know I learned so much about you, and I have no doubt anyone listening got a lot of golden nuggets in their pockets right now. That was very coded conversation. So, Jeremy, thank you again for showing up, giving it your all, as with everything, and really appreciated having you in this conversation today.
Thank you so much. And thank you, yo. Look, I'm serious. As someone who has hosted many shows and been down this road, like I can tell you, Celine, like sitting in the seat across from someone, even virtually, where there's a sense of safety and being really seen, and you're so poised and waiting and not just rushing to the next question. You're like, oh yeah, no, like this is a masterclass in like holding space. That's what you do with executives and founders and people you work with. I see it. Like this is exceptional because I felt so like, wow, I don't have to worry about saying the right thing or the wrong thing. So thank you for creating the container. Deeply honored. This is definitely, I think, something you keep doing, keep hosting, keep guiding, because you just pull it out of people. It's incredible. So I hope we get to do it again in many ways. Love you so much, and thank you so much for having me, for real.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. And yeah, I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for everyone listening. This is Celine, your host on Legendary, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you for walking with us through the fires of remembrance. If today's story stirred something in your soul, share it with a fellow god or goddess. Subscribe to Legendary for more transmissions from our tribe, and may you continue weaving your legend in love and joy. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay sacred, and make it legendary.